Through love and kindness have I drawn thee. Love is powerful, and we cannot pick and choose who we love.
Intentional, never failing. I know that all things are working for my.
Oh, sure. Can always be found doing something, and it's not for a show, but it's one of the mottos of the church is that blessed people bless people.
I'm working for my good, 'cause he's intentional. He's intentional. Hey, and he's never failing. All things are working for my good. He's intentional. He's intentional. He's never failing.
It's both because community, because we always share. We're always inviting people to St. James.
For my good. Yes, they are. Yeah. All things are working for my good. Working for my good.
No, your way won't work, my way won't work. We got to do it God's way.
He's intentional. That's it. So he's intentional. He's intentional. He's never failing. He's intentional. Thank you, God. 'Cause he's intentional. He's intentional. Never failing. Sing again, say that all things are working for my good. Yes, they are.
What I love most about St. James is the close-knit, the family atmosphere. To know that when I say or they say that they love me, they genuinely mean that. When people come here, it seems like when they come here, it's just the atmosphere. They can't leave. It seems like that. And then, like you say, we love each other. We care about each other. And to me, we the church, like if one hurt, all of us hurt because we always come together.
For my good. Things are working for my good. All right, hands up, say,
If we share, we love, and we just enjoy the people, the community, the service which we give and that we receive.
my good. I know it's working for my good. This my part. I don't have to worry 'cause it's working for me. Yeah, it's working for me. Yeah, and I believe it's working.
I have been embraced with such love, with such generosity, that I am forever grateful to have been able to found another church home that has exceeded all of my expectations.
I wear many hats. I think when I first started out doing things, I started working in the kitchen and everyone was nice to me, and I just got on board and just jumped out there, which is what I love to do. And I love to do it with a smile, and I just love it for no pay or anything, no show. I just love what I do, and I just do it and get it done.
I know that he's intentional. Yes, he is. He's been doing it for a long time. He's been doing it for a long time. And I can give him my trust now, 'cause I can give him my praise now, 'cause he's intentional. And he's never failing.
Phil St. James, they are always with you. They never look down on you. They always extend a hand, a helping hand out to you. When you're down, if you feel bad, they're going to put a smile on your face. If you need something, they're going to try to satisfy your need. Whatever you need, and love, or just being a company keeper, St. James is there for you.
I will trust in the Lord.
Everything that you've seen and heard is true. That St. James is a ministry focused and Christ driven church. And although we may not be considered to be a mega church in size, we have a mega heart for ministry and mission work, and we serve a great big God. There are no big I's or little U's. Everyone has a part and place at St. James. We are a community church, or better known as the Church of H.E.L.P, which means helping everyone, loving people. Whether it's through food, clothes, baby milk and diapers, free fans, or $25 free gas fill up, St. James is truly carrying out the mission and works of Christ. No, we can't heal the sick or raise the dead, but we can bring you comfort in running to Walgreens or being a shoulder to cry on when needed. Yes, it is also true that we can't take 2 fish and only 5 loaves of bread and feed a multitude of people, but we sure can throw a big enough fish fry to feed the entire community. That's just what St. James do. For nearly a century, St. James has been a light shining bright throughout its community. We have been the place where one can find salvation, joy, love, and a good hot meal. And it all started over 8 decades ago in the heart of a farmer down in Fight's Bottom.
Well, let's trace our roots. Let's trace our roots. Our quartet roots.
In the year 1906, down in the southwestern corner of Jackson, Tennessee, formed a new community that provided land and houses for blacks to buy and rent. During the year 1908, the community was named Fight's Bottom. It was named after the Fights family, which owned the majority of the land.
Stayed in Fight's Bottom, and telling me that they stayed there on Franklin Street until I was born. I was born, and after 2 weeks, we moved to another community.
Fight's Bottom would eventually become referred to as the slum of Jackson. Some would often say that nothing good would ever come from it, but little did they know is that something good, in fact great, would come from Fight's Bottom. That is St. James Missionary Baptist Church. That's right, sometime during the mid 1930s, God called a man by the name of Reverend Charles Williams to preach. Reverend Charles Williams was a farmer who drove around selling vegetables, and while doing so would talk about Jesus. Reverend Charles Williams would eventually become Pastor Charles Williams, as the people in Fight's Bottom had become eager to hear Reverend Williams preach. That led him to start a church and name it St. Mark Baptist Church. At first, it started out in a house on Taft Street. After the departure of Pastor Williams, a Reverend Haas took over and moved the church over to Meadow Street. And according to the 1938 city directory shown here, the house which St. Mark moved to was owned by Miss Addie Mills. It was here at this house that the church would eventually get its first set of benches. Story has it that Brother Mac White Sr. went and raised enough money to purchase the church its first set of pews.
As I look back over my life and I see where I am.
After a couple of years went by, the church named Reverend Felix German to be the next pastor. And under Reverend German's pastorship, the church would be renamed from St. Mark Baptist Church to St. James Baptist Church. Also, according to the 1942 city directory, St. James was established at 218A Meadows Street, which says that Miss Addie Mills had agreed to allow St. James to use half of her house. However, eventually 218A Meadows Street would become too small. Therefore, by 1947, St. James, under the leadership of Reverend German, would build a church next door. And according to the city directory, St. James' new address would become 220 Meadows Street. And the picture you see here would become the new home for St. James Baptist Church.
Pies Bottom, and like you say, a little white church by the railroad track. As the song said, when their song be singing, the little church by the railroad track. That's what St. James was to me. And I live down there, and I live down the street from St. James.
People from all over would come to this place to hear some good quartet singing and good preaching. People anxiously waited to hear Deacon Melvin Turner and Deacon McKnight in the Spirit of St. James to sing that old style of foot-stomping quartet. St. James became headquarters for quartet singing. Seemingly everything was going good until it wasn't. A dispute between the deacons and Reverend German would eventually lead to a church split. A few of the members, along with Reverend German, left and started what we know today as Mount Moriah Baptist Church. However, St. James continued moving forth with naming a Reverend Edward Lee Govan as the new pastor. Under the leadership of Reverend Govan, the church grew a more healthy and strong new membership, and it grew spiritually. It is said that Reverend Govan was a very spiritual preacher, and under his pastorship, the choir grew stronger and the church grew stronger than it ever once was before. Tragically, September of 1970, Reverend Govan was in a car wreck just shortly after leaving Bible study. He died months later, and this was a great loss for St. James, as Reverend Govan was highly loved and favored by the people of St. James. It felt as though St. James had been set back yet again. However, shortly thereafter, St. James would name a new pastor.
Woo! All right. Is there anybody here that loves the Lord like I do? Stand up. Ooh-wee.
June 1971, the Reverend Homer Gatlin was elected to be the next pastor of St. James Baptist Church. He was just the perfect fit and the one to take the church even higher. In 1974, he got together with his deacons and the trustee board, and together they all put together enough resources to purchase the church on the hill at 278 Preston Street, where it resides today.
Reverend Gatlin was a people person. He loved people, he loved his congregation, and the congregation loved him. He was a great preacher, he was a great speaker, he was just a great pastor, and his leadership was awesome.
Reverend Gatlin came down there. The old deacons always say he was a triple threat. He could preach, he could sing, and he could play the piano. And so Reverend Gatlin came down there. He stayed with us until the urban renewal came and we moved up here on Preston Street. Reverend Gatlin, he would always come by the house. He always, and my dad had something going, I don't know what it was, but anyway, he was a friend of the family, and he was always here. And I really respected him.
I find myself living among evil.
Reverend Gatlin was a strong preacher and a strong and powerful singer, playing the piano, many gifts and talents. He was a powerhouse all by himself. He pastored from 1971 until he became ill in 1998.
Thou great Jehovah.
As we say at St. James, can anything good come out of Hardeman County? Well, Reverend Ernest Ray Polk is proof that yes, it is possible. In December of 1998, St. James elected Reverend Polk to be pastor. Under his leadership, we have taken St. James much higher, setting unprecedented records of giving to the community, building a strong relationship with the community and within the community of churches. Under his leadership, St. James renovated the entire church. We have purchased land and paved 2 parking lots, expanded our music ministry, upgraded our youth department, purchased 2 new church buses, and a van. The list goes on and on. It is clear that St. James still and will remain faithful to ministry. We didn't get here by accident, but we are here and will remain because we serve a mighty and true living God. To God be the glory.
I need you to hold this gun hold me. Late in the midnight hour, I need you to hold. Oh, y'all fooling with me.